Moments. Jay West, the prayer guy, 5 a day with Jay. We're dealing with prayer points, specifically obeying God when he tells you to do something, especially when it's kind of hard. Romans 1:15 says, believe and obey. Right at the beginning of the book of Romans in the Bible, for the 5th verse, believe and obey. Romans 16:26, the next to last verse in the book of Romans, believe and obey. There's something about Romans, God's saying, believe and obey. I remember when the Lord spoke to us, we were driving in Houston, and we heard about a church on the north side of town that burned down. I knew the pastor. It was Pastor Ernie, and I felt so bad his church had burned down. And they listed on KSBJ radio in Houston of the needs this church had as a result of the fire, and one of them was a refrigerator. And I remember thinking, we have a refrigerator. We could give them ours. And I'm like, it's kind of a foolish thought. Really, the reality is, because we only have one refrigerator and it's full of food, so what are we going to do? But I just felt like God was in it and trusting him, so I called Ernie on the phone. I said, hey, Ernie, so sorry about your fire, and we'd like to help a little bit. We have a refrigerator for you for your church, and I don't know when you need it, and I don't know how it's going to work out for you, but we have one for you. And he said, well, I'd love to take your refrigerator, but I can't get it till Saturday because you're on the other side of town, and my job and work and help figuring out all the things with the fire. And I said, okay, fine. And that was good for me because that gave me 5 or 6 days to figure out what I'm going to do about a refrigerator. And so this is just a prompting of the Lord to give my refrigerator away. And so we didn't tell anybody. Monday we prayed, Tuesday we prayed, Wednesday we prayed. We told nobody. And this was going to have to be a God thing for sure. And on Thursday, a friend of ours in our church, her name is Nancy, she calls me on the phone. She said, Jay, my husband Ray and I are buying a new refrigerator, and we have a really nice one. It's only 2 years old, and every time we pray about what we should do with our old refrigerator, your name comes to our minds. Do you need a refrigerator? I said, Nancy, you have no idea how bad I need a refrigerator. And I shared with her the story, and she said, well, our new refrigerator is coming on Saturday. How about if I have our old refrigerator delivered to your house on Saturday? I said, wow, Nancy, you have no idea how Saturday is important to us, And then I explained that part to her. And see how God works this out? Random acts of obedience. And I wouldn't say random. There were specific acts, probably be a better way to say it. Specific acts of obedience, allowing God to work in our lives and bringing in his provision when we are believing and obeying, like it says in Romans, believing and obeying. So Nancy had the refrigerator delivered, and what we decided to do was we asked her, and it was fine with her, instead of putting that new refrigerator in our house and taking the old one out and taking all the food out and all that, we just gave the new refrigerator to the church. We just felt like that was an easier way to do things, and it would have been nice to have that new refrigerator, but God blessed us and God blessed the church, and it was a done deal, and it was a wonderful experience. And so we see God working in our lives, and we want him to talk to us. But usually we want him to just hand us things. Say, here, Jay, here, Susie, here, Carol, here, Bob, here, Robert, here, Charlie, here's what I'm giving you. But sometimes he puts his hand out and says, here's how I want to bless you. Now, you release something in your life to somebody else. Release it to the kingdom, and then I'll come back in with my provision. And when he does that, it's a test. And it takes faith, and it takes trust, and it takes confidence that you are hearing God's voice, because it's risky. Faith is spelled, risk is spelled, or faith is spelled I'm doing it all wrong. I messed it up. But faith is spelled R-I-S-K. It's a risk. And walking with God. And so, okay, so I messed up the broadcast a little bit. You're all laughing as you're watching it. That's fine. I can handle that. Who doesn't get tongue-tied once in a while? But God is working our lives to do something spectacular, something special. And we go from glory to glory, faith to faith. So the things that I've given away and done in the past are now influencing how I walk and live today too. And so, because I'm doing greater things than I did in the past, because I did these little things in the past, and God's doing it. He'll do that for you too. He'll work in your life, and he'll make it better. So you got to trust him, and every act of obedience is a declaration of trust. Keep that in mind today, and we'll see you next time. God bless you. Bye-bye.